But after that Matheus Cunha conversation, there was a lot of conversation about other players in the Premier League who could potentially play at the top level. And I think at the moment we're in a strange position where there's a lot of individual players outside of the top six that probably could break into the top six and play for one of the top teams. So what we're going to do is rank our top 10 players outside of the top six. It's a really simple concept. We're going to name a player, have a conversation. Each person is going to give them a rating from 1 to 10. And at the end, I'm going to top the numbers and basically rank them 1 to 10. But before we do that, who is your 10 out of 10? And then we'll know where your rating lies after that. I'll give mine. Mine's João Pedro. For me, he's 10 out of 10, ready to play for an Arsenal, ready to play for Liverpool, ready to play for City if Haaland wasn't there. He could play for anyone in the Premier League. So he's my 10. Kim, who's your 10?
Eze's my 10. He'd stroll into any team in the world, I think. Honestly, I think maybe bar Real Madrid, I think he'd play, and I think he'd perform. Okay. Comfortable.
Dev?
Cunha. I've said it for about a year. I think he's top. I think he's incredible.
Go on, Davina.
Mine's Eze as well. I mean, Tottenham have been long-standing admirers of him for a while, so like naturally he would be massive creative force for Palace. Like, I think he's just been so crucial in breaking down defenses. So yeah, he's. Are you going 10 out of 10? Should there not be 1 out of 10? Like place number 1?
Yeah, I was confused by that.
I was like, I thought you were starting from the bottom.
But
the idea, gonna add the scores up.
Yeah, you're giving me points.
You got.
Yeah. Then I'd have to work out who's got the lowest points to finish first. That makes no sense.
Okay, yeah.
All right, let's start with João Pedro then. As I said, he's my 10. I think he's probably one of the most complete forwards now. The pass from Mitoma's goal against Bournemouth, if you haven't watched it, is so good. Like, Mitoma's not in the picture when he plays the pass. And I just think his overall game, there's some players you watch and you think the ball sticks to them when they get it. They can wrestle defenders when they want. They can drop off. They can pop passes off. They can shoot from range. They can score both feet. I think he's 25, 26. So for me, it feels like it's like exactly the right time for him to go into the top six and shine. Where are you guys with João Pedro?
Yeah, I think he's a very good player, to be fair. He was literally my first pick in fantasy. He's just he's a top quality player, and I think the perfect profile for an Arsenal. I would not be surprised at all to see him at Arsenal in the next year or two. I think he's top quality. I think the only thing I think about these strikers, and I'll say exactly the same thing for everyone on the list, apart from Jarrod Bowen, who I guess is like more of a right winger, is what I said at the beginning of the episode, which is like, it's quite, the step up is massive. In the same way that the step up from the Championship to the Premier League, I can think of 1 or 2 strikers who've ever made the step up, Jamie Vardy being one of them. Everyone else will score like 26 goals in the Championship, come up and score 1 or 2 goals, because the step up is massive. And it's obviously not as big, but I do think the step up into like a top 6 team or a team who's regularly playing Champions League is massive. I'm not sure how much he would shine just because I've never seen it before. Good. But I do think he's a top player.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's a level that for an Arsenal, as an example, I think they need a striker that is just a level above. I'm not trying to disrespect João Pedro, but like, I think the numbers that we're seeing. What
is the level above?
Like Gyökeres. I think if we're seeing like a top European proven striker, so I think there are certain elements that. I'm looking at the current squad they have, and I'm thinking of the pedigree that Gabby Jesus had before he went to Arsenal. I know it's a different type of profile, but I don't see that massive switch up to Pedro. And similarly, with Havertz kind of taking a more forward role, they're 2 completely different types of players, but in terms of output, Havertz has actually been quite solid. So will Pedro come in and, completely diversify everything? I'm not sure. I think there's a type of profile they need, but Pedro's still a brilliant player. I just think, where he's at Brighton, I'm always a bit hesitant because he's enjoying his football at Brighton. He's been there about a year, 2 seasons now, 3, maybe
2.
3.
This being his 3rd, I think.
This being his 3rd. Okay, so now let's see if he can contain this for the next, however many months.
Yeah, and like on that big occasion, like that's where that difference comes in from a lower team side, and then playing for an Arsenal, because you'll be playing like more high pressure situations, and you'll have to be more consistent with a consistent output. So not only be able to have an impact on your team, but consistently actually provide an output and not just influence how the team play.
Yeah, and mentally as well. Like, I feel like we skate over that so much. But imagine like being a player now and going from having everyone love you. Look at Xerxes now, going from having everyone love you, and then all of a sudden not hitting the ground running, and then having all that pile onto you. Like that plays a massive part, especially when you're going for titles and
The
there's so many
only
more eyes
thing
on you.
I'd say about João Pedro, and this is why I gave him a 10 in my list, is because out of all the players we've got on there, he's one that's gone from Watford in the Champ, who are like a playoff type team, to Brighton, who are like a top 10 guaranteed team, to then a top 6 team. Like that's why I think his trajectory feels like it makes more sense.
I think like also moving to a team like Arsenal, just to go back to Dev's point with like the pressure and the situation that you're playing for an Arsenal, look how many big games you'll have in a season. You'll have all the London derbies, you'll play Manchester United, play City, play Liverpool, and they'll all be like must-win games. Like there's no room for like dropping points if you want to be a title contender, especially at the place where they're at now. So it's like an even higher pressure situation if you're going for a title contender where do you know what I mean? Like
Let's have your ratings then, because we have 9 other players to get to. Davina, I'll start with you.
So 10 is the best. So what I was gonna give. Okay, 6.
Boy, that's low. Kim?
Just thinking about the other players on the list, I'd probably give him a 6 as well. I feel honestly like, and maybe it's just because of the Watford connection, I feel like there's already been like a fairly similar trajectory with like Richarlison. Was at Watford, was by far their best player, goes to Everton, matures, becomes more of a team player, and then goes to Spurs and can't quite
He's injured. Bless him.
No, I love the guy. I love the guy. Honestly, any time I can get his name into a conversation, I'll get it in because I absolutely love the guy. But he hasn't stepped up in the way that I think he probably would have expected. And I know he's had his problems of injury as well. But
that's made my mind up for me because I was at a 7. I'm going to go 6 as well.
I saw Dev's face change there when I heard Richarlison. I went, oh man, Dev was on my side. All right, up next, we're going to go with Liam Delap. At Ipswich, he's a really fascinating one. To be fair, Kim, he was at City, wasn't he? So how much do you know about like what was the vibe at City when he left?
I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake now, probably more than it would have been a year or two ago. And he didn't do very well in the Championship. And he was one of those players that City had never really had. So I think the fans kind of took to him the fact that he was just like this big, like meaty, bruising striker. I think he was scoring before Haaland even came in. So it was like we'd never really had like the young, just like raw English lad who was just strong and he could just hit it as hard as he could every time he got the ball. So like, I think we all wanted him to do really well, but obviously you go on loan to the Championship and you can't score. It's like there's not that much expectation or that much hope. The way he's playing at the moment, the fact that Haaland hasn't scored in has scored 1 goal in his last like 6 or something like that. Obviously having Delap now would be really, really helpful. I think that's another one of like we were talking before about Chicky Burgeristan, the last 2 windows, a bit of a failure. I think that's another one of the failures. But I do also think that he's at exactly the level where he belongs now. I think he's at Ipswich. I think leaving Ipswich to go to someone bigger in January or next year, or maybe even the year after, would be a massive mistake. He's exactly where he needs to be now.
See, I think everyone's going to disagree with me here, but I think there's certain players you watch and you think they've got the minerals. Like, there was the run a couple of weeks ago where he darted from the halfway line past 2 or 3 players. I think athletically he's there. Like, he's a powerhouse. I think mentally and psychologically maybe not so much, because there's a chance against United where he should just pass it down on Anna's side. I don't even know why he's blasting. I mean, it's a great save, but I don't know why he's blasting it from 4 yards out. But I think a team, I don't know why I was going, a team like Spurs, but but that's always a sense. A team like Spurs should take a shot on him, because I think there's a player in there that, like, if you get the right manager in his ear and if you get the right sort of people around him, he'll be like absolutely there and thereabouts. Because I think it's harder to get the athletic stuff absolutely nailed on than it is to get the mental stuff nailed on if you get the right system. I don't know though. Maybe I've jumped early on Liam Delap.
Well, I think on that same point, like he's probably under the right manager for him. Like McKenna was a really was a
True.
really big part of any success that Ollie did have in how the team played and any vibes we had at the time and any results that we got. Because I think with Liam Delap, like he's very early in his journey as well, but he strikes me as that Evan Ferguson type character. And what we've seen with Evan Ferguson is you get an injury when you are that big stocky lad at 19, 20 years of age, and it sets you back. Like he's actually, it sounds stupid, he's growing as not, I don't mean as a person, as mentally or morally. I mean like he's actually physically growing because he's still a kid. So I think he, like, if he can stay clear of getting injuries, like, which is always just a bit of luck, and he can stay clear of any of that, then I think he's got a good head on his shoulders to actually go from Man City, a cushy role at Man City, and say, no, I'm going to prove myself and go here. So that says a lot about the kid.
I think what we should label him as is like promising talent, and what needs to happen in the future is he needs to build on that promising talent and actually be proven talent. And that's why he's a great addition to the list. But in terms of like ranking, he's again like he's at the right club under the right manager where he can make that impact and move from promising to proven. And that's why I put him as one.
Jesus.
Because I think he's at the right level. I don't think at this moment in time, the player he is, maybe in the future, he has the potential to be like have this mad impact on a top 6 club. But if we're looking at players right here, right now, then I think he's at the right level. And I think compared to the other names we have on the list, I'd put him at 1.
Yeah, I'll talk to
my
good
one
game,
as
but
well.
I'm kind of putting him at 1 as well.
Oh, wow.
You were so shocked at my answer.
Yeah, no, I wasn't shocked. Was I shocked?
No, Pedro was shocked at my answer. He was like, 1.
I don't know. I put him. I mean, this sounds even more mad. I put him at 2. So it's actually not that mad. But I don't know. In my head, like I put a sales pitch in for him, thinking someone else might put him higher.
But I've just seen the list. He's going at 2. I'm putting him at 2.
Yeah, fair. All right, let's move on. Let's go with Anthony Robinson. A lot of shouts for the best left back in the league at the moment. There is a real dearth of left backs, to be completely honest. So don't know if it's because he's really good or because the level's really low. But Dev, you put him in, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Because obviously Man United are bereft of left backs at the minute, and today we actually saw Terrell Balasia come back from wherever he's been, and Luke Shaw. Thank God he's okay, frankly. But no, they're both back. But
bro, Luke Shaw is officially back. New manager, he's officially back for a while.
But yeah, with Anthony Robinson, he's just so unassuming with how he goes about his business, and he will always, in pretty much in the last 2 seasons and in this season so far, he will rank in the top percentile for some of the key areas you need him in when it comes to interceptions or forward runs or like even chances created for Fulham. He's in the top percentile with them. So we are now in the left wing back territory. So this is a bit biased because obviously we need someone like Anthony Robinson. But when we're talking about someone ready to make that next step up, I think there's a list of left wing backs that I want, but he's right at the top of that list. So I've given him a 4 on that basis because of the other names we've got. But I think, and also we need to give more love to like positions like that. It's easy to go for the flashy attacking players, but we've seen how bad we've been without a left back for the best part of a year and a half. And he is someone who probably, like, Fulham are good, but I think he deserves a step up to fight to higher things than what they can. So yeah, I think he's top.
Kim's fuming.
I'm not fuming.
I just saw it.
I'm not fuming. No, I disagree. The more I actually think about it, he's my number 2, and he's sort of like joint number 1 with Delap. Just because you think we're talking about who can make the step up, but he's not as good as Gvardiol. He's not as good as Cucurella. He's not as good as Robertson. He's not as good as Calafiori. So he's not as good as Destiny Udogie. So he's not. Who's he going to step up to? Like, he's not as good as those players, in my opinion, anyway. So I don't. For me, I wouldn't put him that high. I don't think he's like a bad player or anything like that. But I just think the quality of players you've got, although admittedly probably left back isn't the strongest position in the Premier League, I do still think that all top 6 have a better left back than him.
I think Cucurella's not as good as him, frankly. But
I agree with Kim, because when I was like looking through the list, it's sort of like, who could they go to? If they could go to a top 6 team, who would they displace? I just don't think Anthony Robinson would, apart from United, where you do actually need a left back and that's your biggest issue. I mean, moving up another level, I think he's a very reliable presence at Fulham. And other than maybe Manchester United, because you need someone in that position and you can see him fitting into that team, I've put him at 2 as well.
Yeah, I've got him at 1 because I actually think he's a very good left back for Fulham. Let's do Ollie Watkins next because this is an interesting one, man. Because a lot of people think he is ripe and ready to play for any team in the world, and I'm not sure. I don't know why, but I've seen John Duran come in, and I'm going profile wise. Like John Duran can do what Watkins does, and Emery has a great history with strikers. But I think this season you're seeing the Emery effect directly affecting Watkins a little bit as well. Go on, Kim.
2 things I think I would say when I saw Watkins' name in the list is like I don't really think Aston Villa should be part of this, like not in the top 6 team. I do think it's like 6.5 and Villa are that other team because they are so impressive and they probably won't finish out of the top 6 as long as Emery's there. So I don't really feel like Villa players should really be in this list. What I was also thinking though, and I might be completely wrong, but I was trying to wrap my brain around it. He's 28 now. Have there ever really been players who've made the step up that late and then really succeeded? Like when you're 28, 29, you're probably, or you would hope to be, if you ever want to get to that level, you'd already be at one of those clubs. Like I might be wrong. I was trying to think who actually made a step up that late and then was really amazing for those clubs.
There isn't really any.
No.
Yeah, at that age, Casemiro.
I was going to say Van Persie. I mean, we could say him because
but the step up, probably not actually. Like unless
again, if you do it when you're young and you have like a season or 2 where you then learn how to like play that step, but I don't think it usually happens this late.
Right,
and I think there's probably a reason why no one's really ever gone in for Ollie Watkins.
No, they've always priced him out as well, which doesn't.
He's never really been part of like a big transfer rumor to anyone.
All right, seeing as you said Villa are 6.5, let's just get ratings on Watkins because I think a lot of people are going to watch this and go, "How the hell is Watkins on this list with these players?" Where have you got him, Kim?
Well, I don't know because I just feel like he shouldn't even be on the list. But I guess like
you can't just make your own rules up. City fan, man.
8.
Okay.
Yeah, but only because I've seen another name on. No, 7. Because there's 2 better players.
Dev, where have you got him?
I've got him 7 as well.
Davina?
I've got him 8.
Ooh, I had him 5 purely because I don't personally think any team's going to take a shot on him now.
Like I say though, talking about Villa, I don't think many things are a step up from Villa anyway. I think it would be a sideways step unless you go into Liverpool.
Talking about Spurs and Manchester United, like I guess Manchester United, like stature wise of the club, but current performance wise, those would both be sideways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's always like that current versus stature thing, isn't it? Like because I think when we like Bayer Leverkusen are not bigger than Bayern Munich, but it's kind of just like you need to figure that side out. But I still think around a 7.
Villa have stature though. Villa have more stature.
No, they do.
Realistically though, if like United come calling for Watkins and they've got enough money, he's going in it.
Yeah,
like he's not going to go. You know what? Like they might not get champion. He's going. It's just kind of how it is. Like lots of players have done it. Anyway, next on the list, Jared Bowen. And I still, to this day, although now that Salah's hopefully not going to leave him, I think Jared Bowen is the most Salah-like player in the league. Like someone who can score goals in the box frequently, horrible to play against. He's just not nice on the eye. He's not... and I'm basing it actually off the last 24 months because he's not been great this season. So I've got him proper high. I've got him 8th. And I still the only reason he's not taking Salah's spot is because Salah's probably going to stay, and also Salah's still delivering. But if Salah goes this summer, Jared Bowen's on a 7-year contract. But if he wasn't, that's the guy that I'd say go and get him because you can replace Salah for 2 years with Jared Bowen.
He's done the step up as well.
Yeah.
He's done the step up from the
Paul?
Championship to the Premier League seamlessly. Yeah, he's my 8 as well. He's a top player. He's one of them that I do think, because he's not that quick, he's not like unbelievably pacey, and he's not that strong. He's one that I would probably worry about. Like, I don't know if he would be a 100% success. Whereas, like, the player who I've put as my 10, Eze, like, I know he could play for anyone, and I know he would be a success. Whereas Bowen, for me, there's a few question marks around it. But like, as a player on this list, he's better than, well, he's 8th, so he's better than the other 7.
Yeah, I've got him 7, very similar reasons, but the only thing I don't like about him is the fact that he plays for West Ham. Like, apart from like recently, I think his performances have been pretty good. Work ethic, versatility wise, like regular calls to the England national team, probably like bar Dimitri Payet, like probably West Ham's second best signing. And I just think that, yeah, to echo Kim, like, he's a very good footballer for West Ham. Just sort of, it'd be up in the air, question marks surrounding about whether he could do it at a bigger club, but he's still pretty high up. He's my number 7.
Oh no, I've put him at number 5. And I'm not like, it's kind of that similar. I've probably shot myself in the foot with the Robinson thing, but it's a similar kind of thing that we're doing with him. But I think he's outstanding for West Ham, and I think he was linked with Liverpool for a little bit. I just think there's a player on this list that I'm going to make a pretty big case for, and a pretty big what's the word? A pretty loud case for, and that's probably what's doing me in a little bit on the
Go on, make it now. Who you got?
Semenyo, man. I think I've looked, like, I know he hasn't done it for a long enough period, but I mean, God, how much time do you need? I think Semenyo, honestly, I didn't expect Bournemouth to be as good as they are. I think they've clearly got a really nice system, and they're really good work ethic and everything. But if we're talking about a 2-footed winger where the unpredictability is there, you don't really know what he's going to do. He's very good cross of the ball. He's a good technician of the ball. You've seen him take set pieces at times. He's popped up with some good late goals already. Like, the guy's engine just doesn't run out. And we're talking about developing and where he's going to go. I look at this list and I think this player can't stay at that team for much longer because they're too good and they have to go forward. Bowen, I can still see him staying at West Ham. I'm not saying he's not good enough to go elsewhere, but I can still see him staying there. Cunha, I don't see staying at Wolves, and Semenyo, I do not see staying at Bournemouth. I think he's so strong, and physically, I don't know about mentally. We have to come to that, but he's in a really nice patch at the minute, and he's always shown that when he's come out for cameo appearances. But he just exponentially just keeps getting better, and I think that's a player where he will command a lot of money pretty soon, and Bournemouth will be poorer for it, despite getting the money for him. I think he's brilliant. I don't know what much to base that off. I just see him play, and I just think I'm excited when he gets the ball. He makes me go wow more than a lot of players on this list, and I just think he's outstanding. So because of that, I think he won't be at Bournemouth.
So yeah, he's quite low for me, number 3.
Dev, where did you have him? 7.
7, yeah.
Mad. Okay.
8. Sorry, 8.
Okay, 8.
Yeah.
Davina, you've mentioned Eze as your number 10.
Yeah.
He's been linked to Tottenham so many times. Why is he a 10?
I mean, I think, like, the creative force that he is and the impact that he's able to make at Crystal Palace, like, if Eze plays well, the whole team plays well. And that's why, again, massive bias because I want him at Tottenham. But I think he's so ready for the step up. And going back to other conversations we've had about other players, he's had significant interest from other top 6 Premier League clubs. And there's a reason why he's had that, and why others on this list haven't, and why they've stayed at the level that they are, and that people can just admire from afar and sort of say, oh, maybe you'd be good at a top 6 club. Eze has had consistent interest, has been consistently rated, and that's why I think he was my number 1/10.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Eze is the one who will play for one of the biggest clubs in the world. He's probably the only one on that list that you could bet money on playing for a Manchester City, a Spurs, a Liverpool, even like a Barcelona, Real Madrid. I honestly think he's probably that good. My only thing is, and he is definitely comfortably my number 10, my only thing is that I don't think he's been that good for England. And I know international football is different, so I don't even necessarily think that international football is a step up from the Premier League. But that's my only thing, is that when he has been in a team with better players, he hasn't been as good as I would expect him to be. But I think that's probably more of an anomaly, and it's more of an England thing than it is an Eze thing, which is why he's still my number 10.
Yeah, he's my number 9. It was touch and go between him and Cunha, but I just think Cunha's outstanding, and so is Eze. So splitting hairs between the two.
I had him 7 on my list. Mateus Cunha, Dev, your boy. To be fair, I love this guy, but I'll let you do the sales pitch because you've been raving about him since day.
I think he's incredible. Like I didn't like. I knew he came for a lot of money from Atletico, but like Wolves' transfer business is all over the place at times. Either they get a bargain and he's amazing, or they pay loads and they're not great. But Cunha is just different. And what I liked is that Gary O'Neill is kind of relishing the fact that they don't know where to fit him in, so they kind of let him run free. And when he does that, he's shown he might not be the best defensively, but you can't all be Wayne Rooney and do everything. But like, he is the type of player where you need the game to change, he will change the game for you. And against Fulham, I remember Fulham probably definitely having the rub of the green, like, and having the better seesaw of the match at the time. But then he gets the ball, and all of a sudden it changes. That both of his goals were incredible, and I think he's been known to do that. Like, but plucking the ball out of the air like a Bergkamp flick into the goal, like if a big name player does that, it's getting replayed all over the shop. And then when you're just turning on the half turn outside the box and you're blasting it in top right stanchion, it's like it's just ridiculous. But it's that versatility of goals, it's the versatility of threat. And I don't. His link up play is exceptional, and he's also physically a very gifted player as well. Like, he's athletic, he can run through people, he can run around people, and when he gets there, you kind of think he has the coolness to slot things away. He's got a bit of that arrogance and ego about him. So I just think he's made for a top club. And Wolves, where they are at the minute, is that this is another thing that factored into it. Like, Wolves aren't doing great. I know they got a good win at the weekend, but they could quite easily like lose a lot of their best players soon because of where they will end up. And Cunha, I think, is right at the top of that list. So I think out of everyone here, he is destined to go somewhere in the next window. So I think he's incredible.
I gave him a 9. I think Dev's done all the talking for Cunha, to be fair. And I think unless Davina or Kim, you feel completely the opposite, I think everyone can appreciate his talent. That's why I've got him as a 9. Davina, where you got him?
I've got him as 9 as well.
Wow.
Kim?
Well,
I've
got him as 5. I've got him as 5, but only because I think there are players that are better than him in this list. Like I say, I do think Bowen is a better player. I don't think Watkins should be in the list. I think Ez is better. So I think that's the only place where he can go. But I mean, yeah, you're right. He's a fantastic player, and I'm sure he won't be at Wolves for particularly long. If they go down, he'll be the first player to leave. But I just think there's one person in particular who's coming up who I think plays in a similar position to him and is better.
All right, we won't go to that person first. Let's do Emi Martinez. I personally don't think this needs a chat. I think everyone knows his talent. Yeah. So we'll just give ratings. I've got him 3rd. I just think the age he's at, like, no one's going to sign him. Plus, he had his big move, didn't work out, and so therefore, I think, yeah, you're staying exactly where you are. But I still think he's super talented. What do you reckon, Dev?
Yeah, bang on. I think he's exactly where he needs to be, and he's at the age he's at, what he's already achieved. This is the zenith of his career, and he should be quite happy with that.
What's your rating?
3.
Davina?
I've got him at 5.
You think he's getting a move?
Not that he's getting a move, just more that he might be at a higher level than he is at Aston Villa. It was more so like whether he can, not really like whether he can get a move or not. That's not how I did my list. It was more so like, is he performing at a level which is beyond where he can be?
Got you. Kim?
I put him as 8 because I did my list as in the same way I did it, like who could perform for a better team. I think he's the second best keeper in the league. So I think he could play for most teams in the world. He's a World Cup winner. He's one of the best shot stoppers I've seen. So
yeah, absolutely.
And finally, we'll finish on Mbeumo. Kim, you have a sales pitch because you said something to do with Mateus Cunha that was related to Mbeumo.
He's just been doing the same as what Cunha's been doing, but for longer. And that's kind of my only basis on putting him there. I just think he's a fantastic striker. He's another one of those, again, I could go blue in the face saying it, who it's a bit unsure whether he can make the step up. And it's a bit unsure whether he would, kind of have the same numbers and the same quantity of goals. but like he's one of those players that I just love watching. I just love watching him play. Like every single time Brentford are on Match of the Day, like he'll just do something. Just like he's just electric. He's a bagsman. Like the way he strikes the ball, it's like a computer game. Like it's like literally destination A, like from A to destination B, which is the back of the net, and it happens within like 1 second. Like I just absolutely love watching him. So that's why he goes above Cunha.
I've put Mbeumo at number 4 purely because I think he's still like a top player, but it's sort of that. Again, I just don't see him going much further beyond Brentford. I actually think he's in a really happy spot. Like I'm with my list, what I've realised is that I'm looking at players who, I think can't be happy there because they can do so much more, or they are happy there and they're actually fine their level. So, and Mbeumo, I think is a brilliant player. I just think, do I see him going and like at this stage in his career to a Tottenham or to like, I don't know who else well, no one's getting in at Chelsea. There's too many players, but Tottenham as well. I saw it, and I just think, is he going to get in there ahead of Kulusevski? Is he going to be happy there? I just think where he is now, that is where he should be, and that is where like I think he sort of belongs in the nicest way possible. But that's probably the best way to keep him. So yeah, I'll put him there.
Davina, where you got him?
Put him at 4 again. Like what Dev said, in the top 6, where could he ideally fit in? I think like Tottenham, Chelsea. Tottenham is like a potential move for a lot of players because we're trying to fill in or add a lot of depth to our squad, and I just don't think he'd get in the team or anywhere near the starting lineup, replacing or displacing any of our like a Kulusevski at all. So yeah, that's why I've got him as 4.
All right, I'm going to do the maths, add these up, and I'll let you know where our list ranks. Give me 2 seconds. I've taught it up, done the maths successfully without the help of anyone else. I'll go 1 to 10. Matheus Cunha, number 1. João Pedro, 2nd. Bowen, 3rd. Eze, 4th. Watkins, 5th. Mbeumo, 6th. Emi Martinez, 7th. Semenyo, 8th. Robinson, 9th. And Delap, 10th. I feel that's fairly accurate, overall. Like maybe a couple of shifts here and there, but I think that's pretty bang on.
Not bad.
That's fair.
We're satisfied. Kim's probably not satisfied. What are you angry at now, Kim?
Bro, I sit here with a smile on my face for an hour and 25 minutes, and you just cuss me out for being grumpy. What more do you want from me? I'm not allowed to breathe. It was a sigh.
Someone agree with me here.
I think the other people on the podcast are just very emotive. That's why.
To be fair, me and Kim both have resting, you know what?
Yeah, I've
face.
got a resting bitch face, bro. I'm trying.
Yeah, bro. We need to work on that. Needs to smile naturally. Anyway, this has been a long podcast. I need to go eat my dinner, and I'm on editing duty, which is just phenomenal. But Davina, Dev, Kim, thank you very much for hopping on. If you're watching on YouTube, then make sure you subscribe. Brand new channel, which is thankfully doing very well. So thank you for the support. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts, then make sure you drop a like. You can also comment now on Spotify, and the videos are available on Spotify as well, I believe, if the background team is doing their job properly. If they're not, then let me know as well, and I'll get them sacked. For now, though, we'll see you on the next one.